Okay, so the three ancient Chinese philosophies, Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism, all started roughly around the same time and had very different ways for how they thought a person should go about living their life, right? And those three different ways are explained in this painting right here, which actually shows the three ancient Chinese philosophers: Confucius right here, the Buddha in the middle, and Lao Tzu right here on the right. This is all three of them standing around a pot of vinegar, tasting vinegar. And the vinegar in this particular painting represents life. This painting was made to represent the difference in the three philosophies. And it's a really cool, really clever way of showing it. The vinegar represents life and represents their three reactions to life, which loosely represents their philosophy. Confucius, his reaction to the vinegar is said to be, oh, here we go, the vinegar tasters. A vat of vinegar, Confucius finds it sour, Buddha bitter, and Lao Tzu sweet. Okay, so Confucius supposedly, I guess, I don't know, you look at it and it's a little unbelievable, but it is what it is. They say he is tasting the vinegar and finds it sour. And the general idea is that Confucius believes life is better with discipline, that life itself can be made better. Life itself kind of sucks, but more or less, but can be made better with discipline, intense militaristic exercise, devotion to a state, almost kind of borderline fascist viewpoints as far as the militaristic and nationalism goes. I don't think there was any sort of like ethno-nationalist component to it, but very much so that you need to beat yourself into shape to really enjoy life, right? Discipline is freedom was sort of his kind of mentality. And you need to be loyal to the state or loyal to a leader, loyal to a cause. And you need to be, working out every day. You need to be, a very kind of Jocko Willink kind of guy. The Buddha finds the vinegar bitter and believes by Buddhist principles that life is a bittersweet experience. And this is Buddhist philosophy. The main Buddhist philosophy is that enlightenment is found in suffering. There are 7 paths to enlightenment, more or less. And this is the purpose of life, is to find enlightenment. And the only way to find enlightenment is through suffering. And there's like 7 paths to enlightenment it's humility in the face of degradation, working hard physical labor, there's a couple more in there. Forgiveness for wrongdoings. It's built on the idea of suffering with grace, taking the suffering and accepting it, undergoing through it, and understanding that it's okay to suffer because that's just a part of what makes what makes life life. And from the suffering you undergo, you gain character, you gain wisdom, you gain enlightenment, more knowledge about the world. And there's a lot to be said about that. These 3 philosophies did not get famous because people in China were just really fucking bored, right? These 3 philosophies got famous because there's a lot of truth that rings in all of them. Heartburn. Confucius' idea of discipline equals freedom is something you'll hear a lot of people nowadays will say. That's a very common phrase nowadays. Discipline equals freedom. It is very much the idea that life, when you don't control it, ends up controlling you. And when that happens, it's bad. The Buddhist idea that you need to embrace suffering because it's going to happen whether you like it or not, and there is something to be found in the suffering, is another idea that you will see echoed throughout these various different self-help books. In The Subtle Art of Murder and Persuasion echoes that sentiment. Extreme Ownership echoes both of those sentiments. That you need to discipline yourself and you need to understand that life is suffering and there's something to be gained from the suffering, or both. And then that last one is also echoed in The Power of Now. That book also echoes the idea that you need to be present during suffering, right? There's no more important point in your life where you need to live in the now than when the now is painful and it hurts. And then there's Lao Tzu, who disagreed with both these gentlemen, and he finds the vinegar sweet. Lao Tzu believes that life, even when it's going good, not going good, and it sucks and it tastes like vinegar, there's something funny and sweet and awesome to be found. His philosophy in life was find the good in everything. There is nothing about this life that you can't change into a good situation. It is optimism to the extreme, baby. Life is going to do what it's going to do. The trick is to flow with life and find the good in whatever your situation is. Always find the silver lining to the cloud. And so these three main philosophies got condensed down to, specific pieces of advice that you hear all throughout in your life, right? Discipline yourself is good advice. Find something important in your suffering is good advice. And stay optimistic is good advice. And all those pieces of advice generally came from these three Chinese philosophies. I don't know if they were the original people to say it, but they certainly said it. And so the Tao of Pooh, uses Winnie the Pooh to explain the philosophy of Taoism, which is the find the good in life, find the optimism in life, always find the reasons to be happy.